So we're going to pick it up from the Shalosh Tshuvos Nishmas Shabbos Siman Reish Ayin Zayin where we left off yesterday. This is just talking about that the minhag of Klal Yisrael is that to have a special towels for Shabbos. That's what he says over here. So we already know the concept. Fine, we don't need to sit on that. However, he does say another point tangentially over here. He's talking about that someone who has a special sitzis, a talus cotton, a smaller talus, right, that we wear under our clothing. Right. So someone who is now changing into a special sitzis for Shabbos would need to make a new bracha on the sitzis that he's changing, right? And it's, you can't come along and say that no, that this bracha that you're saying in the morning could exempt what you're doing over here, because it's only a garment, right? That's only the pshat is that in the morning we say a bracha l'tatif b'sitzis, so then it's going to cover our talis katan while we're wearing our sitzis. But over here the pshat is you weren't wearing it, so therefore the brachas you made in the morning aren't going to cover the sitzis that you're going to switch into. And now this is a type over here. There should be a space in between v'kodem space shelo veishos u'poshmet lav talis katan sheberach alev boker. And before you put it on, you remove the talis cotton that you did in the morning. In other words, when you're switching from tzitzis, if someone has a special tzitzis that he designates that he wears just on Shabbos, so he should keep in mind that he would need to recite a new bracha. Additionally, he should keep in mind that it should be the proper shear, the proper size, because there's shilas in general to make a bracha on that. So we hold obviously that you do, but nevertheless, you should be careful in this case and scenario in which you would be saying a bracha. Make sure the bracha is something to be chal on, to fall on. The big day shena ein hider sheyeh meyuchad l'Shabbos kevan she'ein haderech lehisroas imahem b'fnei b'nei adam. According to everyone, big day shena is like pajamas, right? So there is no hider that they should be special for Shabbos. Why? Because it's not the norm to be seen with pajamas in front of other people. Even according to the Arizal, not to wear on Shabbos anything that you wore during the week, you don't have an issue over here, according to the Arizal. So he wants to say pajamas. Simple explanation is that you don't need special Shabbos pajamas. So because of the reason of honoring Shabbos, fine. So now we understand it makes sense. You don't need special Shabbos pajamas. However, what about according to the reason of you're wearing clothing to remind you not to transgress, violate any of the halachas of Shabbos? Big day shenem yuchadim l'Shabbos kedei sheyeh lo zikaron shel lavo lechalel as Shabbos keinem avor b'devarim esim in reish chav dalet mikadmoinim v'zeh matzu yoiser bekumo mishenaso v'adayin chevli shein alinav. This is more common in the morning when a person wakes up from his sleep and he's still sleepy. He's half asleep, so to say. He's tired in the morning. Whenever people accidentally flick a light switch, it's typically in the morning when they're still like sleeping and they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot it was Shabbos for a few seconds. So therefore, if a person wears a special Shabbos pajamas, they will serve as a recognition not to violate Shabbos. Just to point something out over here, it's worthwhile to die for a person to wear Shabbos pajamas his entire life, not to violate Shabbos accidentally once. That's something to think about. Right? So personally, I don't have the Shabbos pajamas. Maybe I'm going to reconsider it. This is something to keep in mind. The truth is, during the week, I don't turn on lights anyways. When I wake up, I don't turn on the bedroom light. There's enough light coming in from the windows that I don't turn on lights, really. Kitchen and the living room, that's it. That's the farm room. I'm reading. Learning.
Those things you put on the light switch, then I think maybe you're right.
Yeah, we have a special night light anyways. The Shabbos. Yeah, we have those. We have those. So those are off, but I never turn those on anyways in the morning. So. Okay, so that is the point about pajamas, which is certainly worthwhile to point out. Okay, he talks about over here wearing weekday clothing. Could you wear clothing, Shabbos clothing during a simcha? So he goes through a few points over here, which is certainly worthwhile to go through over here.
What is that? Milvad Eitzel Smachos.
What is?
That
Yotzi Chalatzov.
say what changed the clothes?
What? No, Yotzi Chalatzov.
Oh, you're talking about his children?
Yeah, yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to wear a simcha of a friend?
So okay.
Okay.
Okay, because I went through this yesterday. There's a lot of very important points that are discussed in this tshuva, which we didn't see until now. Okay. OJ Shmakaloma. Shafla Rizal Shein Lish Rechol Big Day Shabbos Hanibov and Kavua. He says a tremendous leniency. That Rizal mentioned not to wear weekday clothing, not to wear during the week Shabbos clothing. Perhaps I think that this is certainly refutable and highly questionable, but perhaps Hainubov and Kavua. That's only if you're consistently doing that, wearing Shabbos clothing during the week. However, in order not to depart, in order that your clothing won't leave the realm of being considered important and set Shabbos and Yontif clothing. Chashivos, importance. But if it's just temporarily, so then there's not going to be an issue over there. Valkain, Lokash Alamenu Big Day Shabbos, Kishemish Tatef, the Chasnus Kiroiva B'nei Mishpachto. So therefore, it wouldn't be a problem wearing Shabbos clothing in a simcha during the week. Adrab, Kavanasa Bezel Haris Kiruvadat, Shu Sameach B'Simchas, Wachlevich Begad Veshkushim Yuchad Shabbos. On the contrary, we're showing now how much we love that individual that we're going to their simcha, and how happy you are with their simcha, to the extent that now we're wearing very special and nice clothing. So I think that's definitely questionable. Because where's he coming from? Where's the proof that only if it's like consistently you're doing this, but if you're just doing a couple times, it's fine. Simple explanation is you can't at all. Okay, but perhaps. Big Day Shabbos gam etzel chasim esotzich losav shel quote yididehem. Minhag nowadays we wear Shabbos clothing at simchas, even if it's not from our immediate family, even if it's for our friends. We do this. L'chayra haloi lefi Arizal inu nachon sheyilbush b'yemoisachol Big Day Shabbos. So what's the explanation over here? According to the Arizal, this is totally incorrect. It's not correct to wear during the week Shabbos clothing. You're gonna wear it during the week Shabbos clothing? What's going on over here? Miu mistaber de'im ba'ofen zeh machzek es kishri hayedidus shebeino im chaver d'shavartam. It could be that no, if by you wearing the clothing, you are strengthening the connection between you and your friend Simcha who you are attending, so then that's fine even to wear Shabbos clothes. The mitzvahs avos Yisrael oila al kulanu. Because the mitzvah of loving Klal Yisrael, that goes on top of everything. In other words, a lot of times people don't prioritize the hierarchy in halacha and hashkafa of what's important. They say, oh, this small thing I'm going to do, but it's at the expense of a much bigger and much more important mitzvah, right? So too, over here is what this is saying, that by us going to the simcha, but not only going, but by wearing nicer clothing, so the person whose simcha it is,
Yeah, dressed like a schlub.
what?
If you dress nicely for a simcha, I'll be happy, I guess.
Right, meaning it's one thing dressing nicely, but it's another thing dressing next level. The friend simcha, he realizes, wow, he's not just attending the simcha and looking representable, but he's wearing nicer clothing. He's wearing his more expensive clothing. That means that the simcha is important to him. And that's good. I like that. What a nice friend. So now he's creating love in Klal Yisrael.
I don't think it has to do with being the simcha point. I think it's like you were saying yesterday that it's about impressing other people at the simcha, and that's the most important.
Say again. What do you mean?
Need to impress other people who are at the simcha. That's
Yeah.
that's what's critical.
Okay, so what he's saying over here is that no. He's being damakav schos lagamri in a few different ways, and one of them is that he's assuming, Rav Harpinus is assuming that when you're wearing nice clothing at the simcha, so the explanation. Whoa!
What happened?
What is that thing?
Oh,
Oh my
oh.
goodness! Whose dog is that?
I don't know.
That's not Timmy's dog.
Should I go tell him that there's a dog?
No, don't leave me here alone.
Okay, you're afraid of
What
dogs?
on earth? That thing is, I don't.
It's all right, it's not gonna bother you. You just went for the food.
Guys,
Should I shut the door?
hold on.
Should I shut that door?
Maybe.
All right, I'll shut that door. Okay.
Start with that. There's like a huge dog here. Holy. Hold on. Your dog?
Door two? No, in the kitchen, just shut the door. The rabbi didn't like the. Just to let you know what's going on, it's just a dog that just really just.
No, I heard, no, I know, I saw.
You saw it?
No, no, I saw, I thought for sure it was not a dog or like, I thought it was like a rodent, but when the rub was, I
No, sorry.
thought for sure it was a dog. But
I don't even know where the security is. I
I
don't
thought it
know.
was a big rodent. I
Okay.
thought for sure. It was a big
Um,
reaction to the big rodent.
Oh my gosh. I've never had that before in my life. This is.
What, a dog? A little
It was like a
chihuahua.
boxer.
Oh, the recording's still going. Your
Oh, the
screen
box-
share is paused. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. Your screen share is paused. Oh shoot, now I
I thought it
really
was a little, I thought it was a little
thought I paused the
chihuahua.
recording.
It wasn't a chihuahua?
Still, it was recording the whole time. I
Not
don't
a
even know
chihuahua.
I don't even
Definitely
know how
not a
to cut
chihuahua.
this thing out.
Oh, a little boxer when the eyes,
Close the other door also?
eyes stick out.
I don't think they're connected.
They're connected, I think.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my gosh, that was wild. Whose dog is that?
Maybe stop the recording now so then you can start a new recording and try to cut off.
Look,
Can't take it.
yeah. Okay, listen. So here's the story, okay? The story is like this. That when it comes to a simcha, right? So if Harpin is over here is assuming that this fella is wearing the nice clothing, nothing to do with impress other people, right? It has to do with he's wearing it because he's showing that the simcha is important, and therefore the person who simcha is will realize what he's doing, and that will increase love in Klal Yisrael. Is that okay? That point? Yeah, agreed.
You're asking me, but I think lots of people wear fancier stuff to a simcha than they would even on Shabbos. So it's hard to hear that point.
Right. So that in that case, then that's questionable. Yeah. You have to know the type of simcha. So.
But it seems like it's become accepted. I'm not saying it's right, but it seems like it's become accepted to wear big day Shabbos at a chasana or a bar mitzvah or anywhere where you're going.
Yeah, it has been.
It
has been.
It's not like anybody's.
It sounds like what you're saying is that it's okay to wear big day Shabbos, but the step above big day Shabbos might be questionable. At least know what you.
Yeah.
So apart from it, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
There's nothing
It's-
technically wrong.
Look, if it's your own chasana, that's something else.
Huh?
Right?
Someone else's chasana, just
Yeah,
another
right,
guy.
someone else's for sure. For sure. Okay.
So it's chasana
Yeah.
what? Just to wear big day Shabbos.
There's a
not to
difference.
go down
Who's
to-
a chasana? Is it yours? Is it your child's? Is it your
It's
right.
a guy in shul.
Right. So then if a person is wearing for a friend who he's not necessarily super duper close with, and he's wearing fancier clothing than Shabbos, that might be
Okay,
questionable.
but big day Shabbos.
Big
would be
Shabbos.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's the sleep. Now some were even stringent.
I think this ties
What?
into a strimal.
Yeah, how?
if you're a very close friend is, it's a very close, to the, Hassan or whatever, you were a Strimal.
Right, yeah, same idea. And in fact, over here on this part, if you want to go Hasidish, he says, I don't like those
Yeah.
people wearing the Tishbekisha during the week. He goes into that.
Really?
Yeah, the Tishbekisha, that's special for Shabbos.
Oh, the Tishbek, but there are people
Yeah.
that wear the long coats.
Yeah, okay,
During the
so
week.
that's where this is coming from. Right, that's where he's coming from. Keep in mind, Rav
Yeah.
Harfness is a Satmar Chassid and a Dayan.
I
We're
understand.
Satmar,
So
so
we wear a
he's
regular suit during the week,
Harfness doesn't wear suits, he wears the Hasidish Zach.
like the long.
Yeah.
But the back she's
Yeah.
saying is like the special.
I don't know.
cloth.
I heard this from one of my other chavruses who went a little Hasidish Tish Bekisha, special Bekisha for Shabbos. I don't know. All right. Okay. 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 There's one more tshuva over here on all of these halachas that we are learning. All right. There's one more tshuva. Okay. And then he has more tshuvas on something else, which has nothing to do with what we've learned up until now, but is nogeya to the halachas that we're learning, and he puts the halachas in these siman. It has to do with an avel, because an avel, he has to be noeg as avelus, right? We're talking about an avel during Shiva, right? So we're gonna see the time it changes when Shabbos comes, what he does as an Ava.
Mhm.
So therefore, those halachas come up. So we might learn about those. We'll see. Okay, let's see this last tshuva. Mitzvah la'echel suda Shabbos bekelim miyuchadim l'Shabbos. Is there a mitzvah to eat your Shabbos suda with special kelim that are designated for Shabbos? Is there a mitzvah? So as we know, there is a mitzvah. Now the question becomes: is there a mitzvah? The question becomes: is there a mitzvah to? Is it okay to use like plastic plates and silverware and everything like that? So we said we were going to touch upon that more in Siman Reish Mem Beis, but he's going to touch upon it now a little bit. So we're see what he's going to have to say about that now, and then we'll come back to it again as well in Reish Mem Beis. Okay, so he says the mitzvah minhag ha'olam medaktik lechol suda Shabbos bekelim mehudarim yuchadim l'Shabbos kodesh. There's a minhag to be very careful to eat a suda on Shabbos with kelim that are mehudarim, right? With plates and silverware, which is very nice, designated for Shabbos. V'u kein ha-mitzvah la'aros ha'shulchan b'mapa yafa, and this is similar to the mitzvah of putting on the table a nice tablecloth. Like we learned, making sure all the beds are ready. Shabbos, wearing nice clothing for Shabbos. Just like we'd be careful if we would be greeting a king, which is language of the Shulchan Aruch and Siv Gimel that we learned. You're greeting a king or a chassan. So too over here, you need to have the nice kalim, the nicest that you have, just like you're preparing for a Shabbat bracha. In other words, you have to realize. Someone tries to say, "Oh yeah, plastic is fine." Whatever, plastic is fine. If you had a king coming to your house, would you be serving plastic? Probably not. So why are you serving plastic now? That's a question you got to ask.
I mean, there's multiple reasons. Easier to clean up.
Yeah.
Just more practical.
Yeah. So you're saying that if a gadol hador came to your house, or lahavdil, a king, or whatever it is, someone very chashuv, you would be serving plastic.
No, because it's not an every week thing.
So you're saying that if every single week, you
If
were
every
eating
time we got a
food-
gadol ador in my house, yes, I probably would use plastic.
So if you had a gadol every single week, you had lahavdil Elon Musk, $350 billion
Well,
net.
let's not talk about him. Let's say an actual gadol. Let's say you had a
Okay, let's say
relationship that come to
gadol.
your house every single
Yeah,
week.
a gadol's more important anyways. You would have a gadol hador at your house. You would serve plastic. What do you think?
Yeah, I would if it was an every week thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. David, would you?
I mean, I don't know, it depends on who's cleaning, but.
Well, let's use the example we were just done. Let's say Ralph Harfiness is coming to my house weekly. I would probably use plastic.
Let me use this as an example. You talk the talk, you don't walk the walk. If it actually happened, you would not be using plastic. Game over. Game over. Game over. By the way, you can turn your video on also. Aval Yisaka in Shemishi H low. Yeladim, I want to see that face. Here's the there we go. He says, let's say someone has Yeladim Ketanim. Little kids, soich besa, crazy kids. שאם ישתמש מידי שבס ושבס בכלים הזכוכים היופים והמודרים שיש בסך בייסה. So let's say you're going to be using this fancy this fancy china that you have, this glass that you have. It's very likely that the kids are going to break it. Could very well be that this obligation no longer exists with the kids, because they could very well break it. So what we do is we set our own plates, nice plates, and the kids, we have fancier type of plastic for them that we give them, not the regular
They never
plastic.
ask for your
What?
I remember when someone was donning that question, like what difference is a fancier plastic or low tier plastic, and this guy who I hold of said doesn't really make a difference.
Is that a rabbi that's in there, or Talmud Chacham?
No, some guy he's learned it. He's not rabbi.
Yeah, there's a difference, because the idea over here is showing chashivas, and we're gonna, by the way, when I say there is a difference, what I mean is that I'm coming from chuvas that I learned, which will be presented in great detail in Siman Reish Mem Beis, in addition to this chuva.
Aside from it being more expensive, what's the difference?
More expensive. More expensive shows that it's more chashav. When we're using a plastic fork that is worth a half of a cent versus a plastic fork which is worth 10 cents, which is much nicer, which is more durable, which won't crack on you, or which
I would say it's a
plastic
waste.
fork could
I'd say
barely
the
go
difference
into a piece
is
of
the more
meat,
expensive
but
plastic fork is a waste. That's the difference.
it's not a waste. A cheap plastic fork, you could barely even dig it into a piece of meat.
No, so it breaks, but it breaks once or twice, but it still does the trick.
No, it doesn't. It can't even, right? A cheap plastic knife, you'll sit there for a half a minute trying to cut a piece of meat on it.
Well, knife makes a difference. A knife,
Yeah,
you
a
need
good
decent
knife.
You need decent knife, I know.
Right? So also
I'm
with the
saying
fork.
with forks and spoons, it doesn't make a difference.
And it's not just practical usage, it's also not just the performance of it, but the appearance of it.
No,
right?
it's not such a
The
major
the
difference. I was having
aesthetic.
this discussion with my daughter. I was in the supermarket with
Yeah.
her, and she said, "Why is that plastic fork so much more expensive?" I said, "Well, it's just a little more sturdy, whatever." But I don't really care.
Okay, so we'll learn about this more when we continue in this tshuva and the other tshuvas, but we're gonna come back to this Reish Mem Beis. This is a big argument I have a lot of times. A lot of times people they go very makel shalashudis, right? In shul, I'm not talking about in shul, I'm talking about in the house, right? We always tries to use nice shalashudis. Why not? V'ra Allah ha'maisa shenizhava la'achroina.
In show too.
What?
In show too. I've never seen them put out nice plates.
Yeah,
for
no,
shows.
shul is not as practical. Look at what he says over here to support what I was coming from. For Allah Hamais, it's very bad what people do. Shenizhava la'achroina that happened recently. Shekama pamim kishiroitzim lahakel al atzman oichlim su'uda Shabbos bekelim plastium shel plastic. Oh, say so much Allah. Many times people, they're lenient with their Suda on Shabbos, they're using plastic. Shebevadai, that for sure, Shali'ish Chashuv, I knew I got it from somewhere. If an important person was coming, lo, Hayu Mevi, and Kalim, Kailu. You wouldn't be using plastic if a Chashuv fell is coming over. Kol Shekain, this certainly applies. Lekros Shabbos Malchusa. When it comes to greeting Shabbos, this certainly doesn't apply. Shuvaisi b'sefer pnei Shabbos. You hear? Shekvar oyer alze b'sefer chut hashani sheish b'zeh mir kavod Shabbos shari lo rechashav lo hayim mishnah. You are decreasing the honor of Shabbos by using something which is plastic, because for sure, if a chashav guest would come, you would not be using this. Bayin sham be. what is that? Pnei Shabbos, I think. Yeah, by Pnei Shabbos. Shesrichem echel sub the Shabbos v'cheder yom Shabbat. Not only that, you need to eat in your best room on Shabbos as well. Maybe Mishal Shuvas Evan Yisrael. The Shal Shuvas Evan Yisrael. He's Malamed Chus v'zeh. He is Malamed Chus. He tries to defend people's practice for using plastic. Shagam shebe chasnus, excuse me, that even in chasnus ein mishtam ben kelim meir, you're not using plastic. But besimchas bar mitzvah v'tanoim came mishtam. But a bar mitzvah a lot of times use plastic, right, Shai? The bar mitzvahs that you go to, they use plastic. V'kvar yotzim kavod Shabbos b'mapos.
I've never seen that. I think
Never
Ramses
seen that. Me neither.
limited
The kvar
utensils.
yotzim kavod Shabbos b'mapos yafos. So he'll say, "What do you mean? You already have a nice tablecloth. You already have machalim yuchadim, nice food. Kol minim atamim." You say, "What do you mean? I already have a nice tablecloth. I already have nice food." Maybe bar mitzvahs they'll use plastic. No, they don't. You know why? Because not as nice. Ve'in sarah kavod Shabbos v'kol davar davar. He'll say maybe you don't need kavod Shabbos with every single last thing. You don't worry, plastic. Ve'in devorav hechrechem. What his words are saying, they're wrong. The pashtos hadavar be'inyan kavod Shabbos v'kol davar. We need to demonstrate kavod Shabbos, every single minute detail. We need to demonstrate the kavod Shabbos. V'kol shekain etzleinu b'chutz la'aretz, especially us in chutz la'aretz. Shegam b'simchas bar mitzvah v'tanoim mishtam shukim on plastic. No one uses plastic at a bar mitzvah in America over here. No one. You know why? Because it's not as nice, not as respectable, not as important, not as honorable. Doesn't have the chashivos. So just like we wouldn't do that at any simcha over here, so too Shabbos kodesh, the kavod Shabbos kodesh. Get the plastic out of there. Not only that, you have a second house. You're going away in the summer. You're renting a place upstate. Bring your fancy dishes with you. Don't just go the easy way out with plastic. Bring the nice china with you. Bring the fancy place. You're going there a couple weeks. Let's go. There's Sayim B'Divrei HaMesil Sharm. He says, I'll conclude with what the Ramachal teaches us in the 19th parak of the Mesil Sharm, called a marble, a kavod, as a Shabbos, mitzvah v'nachas ruach. Whoever increases his manners in which he honors Shabbos, he's fulfilling a mitzvah, and he's doing a nachas ruach. How do you translate nachas ruach? To his creator. He's making his creator happy. What?
Giving pride.
Giving him pride, comforting him. Shekain Sivono Viki Badeto says, you shall honor Shabbos. Umine Kavod Rabim. There's many ways of honoring it. Vahaklal Bazeh. So anything that demonstrates an importance to Shabbos, that's what we need to do. So you could tell he's not happy about the plastic. I'm just translating over here. I'm just putting the words that are on the page over here, and then saying what's on.
Maybe he's just exaggerating because it's something people are weak in. But I think this is not practical to take the dishes when someone goes away, they're gonna break.
Yeah, well, you package them. There's something called the packaging.
I know. He's not moving. He's not doing the proper packaging.
Yeah, well, that's a good investment, right? So
you're saying like he's to get like the special packs and whatever, like the things that when you move, you put stuff on the dishes to make sure it doesn't crack. And it's a whole process.
In this week's parsha, he says basically you could take all of the billionaires and all of their wealth. Then in addition, you could take all the poor people, the little pennies that they have and everything, the middle class. Then you could take all of the governments, all of the wealth that all of the governments have. You could take all the gold in the world, everything that's buried underground, that's hidden, everything in reserves, all the wealth in the world, put it all together. One amen is more kedai in olam haba.
Wow.
Game over. Just think about that for a minute. What it means to do a mitzvah, what it means to put into it, right? When I pay someone to watch my kids, and I'm paying them money so that I could sit and learn, so that I could sit and teach, do both, whatever. That's not a loss, that's a gain. That's a gain. There's nothing to talk about. You get a gain. The more you put into mitzvahs, the more you get back.
You can do a lot of mitzvahs with money too.
Yeah, you could. You know what else you could do? You could do a lot with sitting down and not battling also.
What about Rosh Yeshivas? Why would a Rosh Yeshiva leave his yeshiva To collect money.
Very simple. He's doing that so he could give the other people who
Oh, yeah.
doesn't have enough zechuyos. So now
Alright,
they'll get some merits. And Hashem created the world in the way that the world needs to be run that way. So now these other people who are just battling around and aren't utilizing their time for Torah, they could get some credit for that. And that's how Hashem made it. Also, so that the Rosh Hashiva will get rewarded now also for helping increasing Torah from a monetary perspective also. So, right? Godol hama'asa yosim and oisa, it says in the Gemara, greater is if you get someone else to give money than if you gave stuff yourself. So he gets a tremendous reward for that also. Yeah. That's a whole separate discussion in and of itself about that business. But anyways, so plastic, again, we'll come back to this in Rishon and Blaze Mineder. Everyone should have a wonderful day. Mitzvah Hashem. Next time we'll talk about, see, you have the halachas of like mincha and Erev Shabbos, because like this is the place to do it, because Reish Hamach Beis is right before Reish Hamach Gimel, which is the halachas of lighting candles. So therefore, this is really the only place to talk about like mincha. So he puts it in his chuvas in the simon. This is part of this simon, so to say. All right,
He's saying so next
Yeah.
next you can do this is Simon Rafan Mishnah Berurah. This is his own Simon.
No, this is in his Chuva Sefer, but he's going on our Simon in Reish Hamach Beis.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Continue with his Chuvas on Mincha. I think it's
Understood.
worthwhile. He has a lot of
Understood.
Chedushim. And I already went through them. We're not going through the whole Chuvas. We're going through what I found is very important for Halacha Maisa that we did not cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go.
All right, everyone have a wonderful day.
Wonderful day.
Sure.
All
All right, we're on live tomorrow.
Yeah, why not?
I was sticking around. Okay.
Yeah, why not? Where am I going?
Okay, it's on a Baltimore weekend.